Well, I just first off want to thank you all so much for being here. It means a lot to me. We've put a lot of work into this, and I hope that you're excited about what you see. This is Chris Small. He's my co-developer. We work on this website together, and what I want to do is, the goal of the website is, the big, hairy, audacious goal, which is what Jim Collins would call it, is to revolutionize the way we do education, and really to make a social network of learning so that we can all learn together in a community in one place, because I don't think that really exists. There's a couple big sites out there that are a mix of educational content and entertainment, but I don't think any of them have really quite found the right combination yet of quickly being able to go to and learn and move forward. So what I want to do is just walk you through what a new user would look like, and then what a user with more data would look like, so you can get an idea of what we're doing. So you come to the website. Right now it's free. In fact, you could even create your own account right now if you wanted to. And so let's just create an account really quick. Let's call it Techstart, because I'm very creative. First name Tech, last name Finish. And we'll just do my email address. Gregory@gregorycarlson.com. We'll just do 1, 2, 3 for the phone number right now, and I'll do a very secure password of FDSA. Okay, so we create the account. And what it takes you to is to your dashboard screen. And one of the first things you're going to do is, and one of the first things any learner should do when they're starting to learn, is find out what they know and what they don't know. And that's what we're going to redirect users to. So what we're going to do is we're going to test our skills, and I've hard-coded an exam that we're going to take together, and just so you get the idea. So this is what an exam page will look like. Our goal is to make it nice and clean and simple and easy to understand. You shouldn't have to take a tutorial to do a website on education. So this question says, what is the numerator of the following fraction? So we'll go ahead and put in 3, because that's the answer. This answer is, what is the numerator of the following fraction? Let's go ahead and get it incorrect, just to see what happens. Notice that when you're taking a test, it's not showing you what your answers are as you're submitting them, obviously. And I hope you notice how when I click the submit button, it's automatically advancing me to the next question. Little features like that, you might watching this take for granted, but we've put thought into every single one of those, because one of our competitors, you can't do that. You have to manually get a new pop-up every question you take, and it ruins the experience. So let's go ahead and leave a couple questions blank, because we don't know how to do them. This question is a multiple choice question, so which of these two fractions is larger? Fraction A is 16 over 19, fraction B is 16 over 19, so we'll say equal, and submit it. Now, one of the things that we're branching out on is, although our website is mainly geared towards math, and although it's for the GED, there's a plethora of different ways and different subjects that we'd like to teach about. So for example, I've been trying to pitch the website to the national parliamentarians to do parliamentarian meeting training, Robert's Rules of Order. And so this question is, when the chair is responding to a point of order, the chair is creating A, and then you have some multiple choice options over there. I hope you can see that really any topic on earth could be put through this website. So let's go ahead and get it incorrect. And we'll go ahead and get this one incorrect too. So I've submitted the last question, so an automatic pop-up comes up that says, are you sure you want to submit your test? You've only answered 5 out of the 7 questions. If you click any of these buttons, it'll redirect you back straight to that question. Again, don't take that for granted, that we put time to put into that. But let's go ahead and just submit it. And you can see that it'll automatically grade our test. And as you can see, we only got the first question correct. The ones I left blank get counted as incorrect. And I also missed the parliamentarian questions as well. So not a great start, but honestly, people who are just starting their math career, these are the kinds of scores we're expecting. Okay, great. So you submitted your test. We can review it if we want. So now what? Now what do we do? Well, what I'm going to do now is take you back to your dashboard. And so the way we organize the content in the math building is what we call, these are different courses. So you can see there's the parliamentary procedure one I was working on, probability and statistics. The rest of it is the math that's on the GED. So you may just want to click on pre-algebra. These are what we call buildings. There are units of each topic. Let's say you want to go to fractions. And the whole idea is to make this fun, interactive, and not long. And so each one of these lessons is designed to take 3 to 5 minutes. It's designed so that if you're on a bus ride somewhere, you can do a lesson real quick. Each one of these lessons is on one skill that is extremely specific. For fractions, for example, we have 60 little mini lessons just on fractions. 60 just for fractions. And that's because there's a lot in fractions. That's why people struggle with fractions, is they don't learn everything there is to do with fractions. And again, each one of these lessons, you can see numerator of a fraction, denominator of a fraction. Each one builds slightly on the lesson previous. We're going to start with what is a number, what is 1 plus 1, all the way through advanced calculus, one tiny, tiny little step at a time. So let's go ahead and click on a lesson to see that it loads. Okay? You can see that the lesson is similar to the test interface. But what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to go back out of here and then open a parliamentary lesson, and I'm going to show you why in a second. Again, you see the interface. These are going to be color-coded based on the topic. But here's the point of what I just wanted to show you. What your dashboard shows you is the progress you've been making as you've done the lessons. So for example, if I click on fractions, and I ask myself, what progress have I made on fractions? We click View Progress. And what you're going to notice is data comes up. But you notice that some of it's already color-coded. Why is that? This is the data from the test we just took. It's overlapped onto the lessons that cover that topic. So you'll remember, this one is green because that's the one I got correct. The rest of them I got incorrect. If we look at the parliamentary procedure lesson, and look at that table, you'll notice that I got the 2 questions on that incorrect. So it overlaps your data. Let me show you something else that's really cool. Actually, so let's go back to fractions. So you can imagine a person going through this might say they'll probably be green, 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 and then suddenly start to hit a bunch of red. And we're going to be like, that's where you should start. Because you don't necessarily need to learn stuff you already know how to do. You should start at a very specific level on the skill. And you can see, like, fractions goes on for a ways. The I's are information parts, and the squares are text parts. So we can see that we missed this problem. So I'm going to click it. And down here it says, on test attempt 1, you answered incorrectly. So apparently we need to learn this skill. Let's click Go to Lesson. And it'll take us straight to the lesson of the skill that we missed. So let's go ahead and get it correct now. We can see even you're going to learn something. Did you know that the bar of a fraction is called the vindiculum? See? Now you'll get that right on trivia night, you know? What's the bar of a fraction called? It's called the vindiculum. So let's see. So this is explaining the numerator is the top number of a fraction. I see that the numerator of this fraction is 7. I get a randomly generated example. If I'd like to see another example, we're going to have a redo button on there so you can see an unlimited number of examples. And then it will ask us the question. So what's the numerator of this fraction? Let's say 5. We'll click Submit. It tells us we're correct. Let me show you what happens if you get it incorrect. What a lot of websites do when they tell you you're incorrect is they say, wrong, throw a big red X and a frowny face and very discouraging things if you're a learner. We just say, careful. Careful, you're almost right. Try it one more time. By the way, this is going to be smart in the sense that, let's say you put the answer correct, but you forgot to reduce your fraction. It'll tell you your answer is right, but you need to reduce your fraction. Let's say you're really close. Let's say you're really close to the right answer. It'll say, you're really close, you probably rounded wrong. Let's say we're looking for a slope. As you know, a slope is like 3 over 1, rise over run. Maybe you put in 3 instead of 3 over 1. It'll say, your answer is correct, but please write it as 3 over 1. Like, it's going to be able to identify through a series of tests if your answer is close but not quite right. And notice there's a red square there to indicate that you got the problem incorrect. Let's go ahead and get all of them correct. So this is 8. You'll notice that you get unlimited attempts, of course. And the last one. And so that level is complete. You're going to earn currencies and coins that you'll be able to spend to build a fuller profile with more features that you'll be able to show off to your friends. Let's go ahead and as you can see, we just learned, again, how long did that lesson take? You learned one concrete thing in a couple minutes, and that's the idea. Notice that we had you do it several times so that you can get it correct. And if we want to move on to the next lesson, Now it says denominator of a fraction, and you're just moving up to that's what we call it a building. You're just moving up to the next level of the building. Let's go back, now that we've completed that lesson, let's go back to our dashboard. If I come down to the dashboard and I load the fraction content, you're going to notice that numerator of a fraction is now at 100%. So that's useful. You know you got it right, but that's not necessarily great because that's not useful to a teacher. Because what does a teacher need to know? They need to know, are they adding to the student's understanding? So guess what happens when you click one of these squares? Now it says, on test attempt 1, you answered correctly, and you've answered this 1 out of 1 times correctly on the homework. It's kept track of your test attempt and your homework attempt. Like if I close this and click on the one we missed, you'll notice on attempt 1, you'd answered it incorrectly. It'll also tell you, a teacher, if they left it blank, so that they know they didn't even try to attempt it. On attempt 1 on the homework, we got it incorrect. On attempt 2 on the homework, we got it correct. Then if you took a final post-test, it tells the teacher, you know, they've gone from being incorrect on this specific skill to correct. This tracks every single one of every single thing you do on the website, whether it's a game, a diagnostic, or a final. Are there any questions so far? Let me tell you one other thing. Let me go ahead and log into my account so you can see what it looks like when you have a little bit more data. And then I'm pretty much going to wrap up. So we're logging into my account, and I have lots of data simply because I debug so much. As I mentioned, I'm real good at putting bugs in the code. So here's what it might look like when you have a little bit more data and you're completing more and more of the building. You'll notice that if I click one of these problems, I've taken this problem 8 times on a test, and I've gotten it 7 out of 10 times correct, or 70% correct. It'll tell me how much time you spent reading each lesson part, up to 255 times per lesson part. So I'm not sure what to do if you do a single problem more than 255 times, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, I think. And because you'll notice I've done this one 172 times, just to...
Was that an arbitrary number?
No, that means something didn't work, and that's the lesson part I go to see if it's working yet. And if it's not working, I have to keep refreshing and refreshing and refreshing until the bug is gone.
But you're limited to 255.
Per lesson part. Per lesson part. We may expand that, but we'll see. Yes, sir.
Can you repeat the questions as they come in, just so they're on the right phone?
Oh, yes, I can. So yeah, we've limited it to 255 per lesson part because of space constraints inside the server tables. All of this is, I hope you're excited about, because we're truly going to try to make a math program. We're trying to make this as easy as you can so that even if you don't have a teacher, you can just walk through your entire math that you need. A teacher will be able to create students within a classroom and very simply get very detailed reports of what skills their students had when they came in, what skills they had when they left. Again, not are they good at fractions, because that's a vague statement. Instead, it's how many of them know what a numerator is? How many know what a denominator is? By the way, we're going to correlate all of these lessons to state standards so that when teachers need to know that they're teaching to the appropriate standards, you know, teachers, I was one for 2 years out of high school, that paperwork took forever. You're going to hit a button and it's going to print out, here's how I taught to the standards, here's how my students did on each one of those standards. It looks like I might need to redo these 3 lesson plans because the students didn't really gain that this year. All of this is great, but there's one flaw. The flaw is you can only do what I've already built, and I'm only one person. That's why our goal by the end of the summer is to have a user interface where you can create your own content. You're going to be able to go in, say you want to make a level on how to beat level 9 on a video game, or a recipe. Maybe you want to teach somebody a recipe. Maybe you want to upload a video of you doing something and then having some questions after it. That's all going to be available. People are going to be able to see your lesson contents, give you feedback, give it thumbs up or thumbs down like Reddit, and give it hashtags so that you can search by filter. And you'll see, wow, this lesson on how to do this is like this lesson on how to change this thing on my phone that's been driving me crazy, has a really high rating, I'll go do that because this will probably tell me how to fix it. There's going to be 2 ways to create lessons on here. One of them is going to be just to follow our interface, our user interface, and go through our process. Or you'll be able to write your lesson inside of an Excel document and just upload it to the server, and it'll generate all of it for you.
So you can have video or like text lessons?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's right. Right now we haven't coded yet the ability to embed a video, but that's coming. And we've been shying away from videos because, I mean, there's some websites that do lots of videos, but they're very long. And
I was going to bring that up. There's a website called Udemy,
mm-hmm.
and they're a video course website. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're gonna have that capability as well. Right now, our main goal was to get the grading working and all of that. But yeah, that's our goal by the end of the summer, is to truly create a social network of learning. There's going to be a chat room on the right where you can talk with fellow students who are looking at the same page you're looking at. Hopefully we're going to have volunteer moderators keeping an eye on it, making sure people aren't cheating. If somebody helps you, you're going to be able to reward them. We haven't thought of what we're going to reward them with yet, but you're going to be able to score points as you help more and more people, which will improve your profile's ranking because everybody loves those kinds of little points. And so we're just really excited. The best part of this, I think, is, because again, when you're going from high school to college, our goal is for you to transfer from high school to college on this, so that when you enter college, you're on the same system. You still have credit for everything you've already done and learned. And then when you go to take human resources at the company, you have to do, and you have to take the important 50-question quiz to pass your human resources tests. That could be on here. The best part of all of it is when you ask yourself, all right, well, this is all pretty cool. How much will I have to pay for all of this? I mean, you're looking at the whole operation. So we're able to compete with some of these other companies, and I think, let me put it this way, our break-even point is going to be 4 high schools. That's going to be our break-even point. And so we're going to be profitable at a fraction of the cost as the competition. So I hope you understand where the vision is going. I would happily answer any questions. Yes, sir.
So if I was just an individual person, not at a high school, and I came to the website, what do you anticipate the monthly cost would be?
Right now, and I'm not allowed to price things, but right now we're thinking something along the lines of a Netflix subscription. And the question he asked was, what is the cost going to be? Darla, did you have a question?
So when you have the ability to add any content, if I'm a teacher at any level, grade school, high school, college, master's, I would be able to take my curriculum, add it to your software, and then I would have the ability to see how it matches back to the state standards based upon the state I'm in and have that reported.
Exactly, and we're going to hard code the standards already so that when you put what state you're in, the mapping will show up. Like you won't even have to do that. We probably won't be able to have you make your own content and us try to figure out where it fits, because the code doesn't really work that way. But certainly you could make your own content, have your students in your class, and have that in parallel to everything that we have. So if you think something's missing, and ultimately we'd love to have the revenue to hire content experts to make content. Yes, sir?
So basically everything you've shown us is a template for any possible subject, not just math, right? Anybody can upload anything and it'll have that building progress page.
That's exactly right. You might not have noticed, but when I click back on current lesson, all of the lessons go through the same page. And because it's a template, it's thousands of lines of code that anticipate what inputs need to come, and then puts them in the screen where they belong. It takes me, you'll also, by the way, I think it goes without saying that everybody gets a random question, so no 2 people get the same question necessarily. And that randomization requires code, so I haven't thought yet how people will be able to do that. But if you just want to, but yeah, it takes me approximately a couple minutes to write. It takes me about 1 minute to write one lesson part, because it's literally just 10 cells in an Excel spreadsheet. One for this, one for the text, one for the image, one for what type of question it is. And you won't need to know any code at all in order to make lesson content.
It'll autofill in.
Mm-hmm.
their own information.
Yep. And as you've noticed, you only have to make anything once, because once it's made, whether somebody's doing the question on a test, a game, a mini game, or a homework, it's gonna all be in one place for that one skill. So you don't make it once and forget it is kind of our motto. Yes, sir.
So I have a couple questions along that same line. When instructors are creating lessons, are you going to make that a socially shareable? So
Yes.
if I want to be just go out and find one that a teacher has done somewhere else, I can just go do that.
That's correct. And you'll have the choice, obviously, whether or not to make your data publicly available. And by the way, that reminds me, since we're running off a subscription model, we don't have any ads, and we have no reason to ever send any data to anyone. So if you're a family who's concerned about privacy, it's just us and the NSA who's going to know how smart your kids are. By the way, once we have enough users, what we are going to do with all that data is say, your son is doing math at a 5th grade level, and as they are increasing, because you're going to have a parent account, you'll be able to monitor what they do. As they increase their math ability, you're going to see that ticker based on the data we have on the website, which will be statistically significant. You'll be able to see, wow, we're ahead, we're behind, here's the progress we've made.
So on a follow-up question then is, how far from beta test are you?
I mean, we're already beta testing. We're just adding features and testing them.
Have you got a user group testing it?
Well, right now it's just Chris and I have very high standards. So yeah, but as I said, by the end of the summer, I think we're going to be, there's most of the bugs, like again, our time has been spent building the templates. And so a couple of these lessons have some bugs that we have to go in and fix, but those are pretty quick bugs to fix. But as I said, if you want to start finding all the bugs, you can create an account right now. By the way, it's also going to be optimized for mobile, of course, and tablets. So if you'd like to do a lesson on your phone, you'll be able to do that as well. Yes, sir?
Why are you looking for investors?
Not at the moment. But as soon as I get, in fact, I'm dreading the social media coding of this because it's going to require an explosion of server space like I can't even imagine. So maybe at that time we might ask for some help. But for now, while we just have a couple users and just individual users, I think I could support up to 10,000 users right now with my current server space. But that changes instantly once people start making their own content, especially with the image files. Uploading those images takes up a lot of space. But someday we might go that route, yeah. Yes, sir.
Just a comment, if they reach that 256 tries, send them to the Y2K page.
By the way, if you go to an incorrect page on our website and you get redirected to our 404 page, we're going to have a math problem there for you to do as well. So it's like a hidden badge on the 404 page. Do you have another question?
Well, in terms of your server space, have you considered moving to cloud storage?
Well, all of this is on GoDaddy. All of this is on GoDaddy servers. And by the way, I've coded it as conservatively as possible. You'll notice that I had to go to those building pages before I could show you the data. That's because when you create an account, rather than making 500 empty tables, it creates the tables as you do the content. So it's the amount of space your account is taking up is as small as it needs to be in order to store your data. So it's dynamically generating all of this storage space to be as lean as possible.
I saw the coin and I saw something else next to the coin.
Yeah,
At the very top.
those were tickets and coins. As I said, we're
What are the
gonna.
tickets to- or what are the-
We're not sure yet.
The coins are rewards and the tickets.
We're not sure yet, but we're gonna. There's gonna be. We find that those things are fun to collect, but won't intrinsically motivate a student. However, people who feel like they're learning and can see their progress do, stick with it. And so,
Well, it's kind of like, when you're playing the video game and you're just getting the points. You're just getting the points, right? It doesn't.
that's right. Well, some of it will be in the same vein as Reddit karma. I don't know if you use Reddit, but you have karma Like we're going to have systems kind of like that.
Okay.
And obviously all of this is going to be moderated. Oh, one other cool thing is if you want to, say you have some money and you'd like to sponsor somebody. Like say there's somebody struggling to get their GED and they can't afford it. We're going to have a sponsorship portal where you'll pay for their account. We'll find somebody who's qualified that needs it, and you'll be able to see their progress and even send them messages of encouragement and see that you're being able to help somebody else achieve a level higher than what they could. So.
Like a tutor, kind of becoming a tutor for them in a way.
Well, or just paying for their account, like being their sponsor actually. And as I said, each of the buildings will have their own chat rooms. Goodness. So.
Will it be blockchain driven?
We're actually thinking about doing Gejucoin, having a cryptocurrency. Yes, sir.
Question, would the student be able to assess how he or she is progressing relative to everybody else that is using the program?
Absolutely. And again, all of that data is totally private. You're only seeing how you compare to the group. And, you know, like we're going to be, one of our next things to build is a multiplication table, because multiplication tables are so important to know. When you play the game, it's going to develop a heat map for you of where you're strong and where you're weak, and you'll be able to do a subgroup of just where you're weak, just to practice those ones, and then practice the whole thing again. And then that even, you'll be able to see how you stack up against everybody else in your grade level, in your state, etc.
I would think that would be quite a motivator.
I think so too. I think so too.
Down here, I need to bump my...
Exactly, exactly. And you can. It's one little step at a time. And our idea is, you know, the big crazy goal, and I know it's crazy, but it's to be the Facebook of education, because whether you're going from school to college or college to work, like I want Google, you know, a friend of mine told me, he works at a major corporation, and a friend of mine told me that he's a mechanical engineer, and he says he uses 2% of his degree at the job where he's working. So why not have that corporation put that 2% that they know you need to know to work there on here? Like imagine you have your business and you want to hire somebody and you need to know that they have these skills. You can make that part of the interview process, and then you'll know for a fact they have this. So there's a lot of different applications, I think, to this. Well, thank you again for coming. You can see we're so excited about it. I hope you liked it.